What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of The Darkest Minds. Let's rock this. Okay, I had super duper low expectations coming into the screening, which is understandable because if you've seen enough young adult dystopian dramas out there, they start to look alike because they share similar patterns in terms of the story, the protagonists, and the themes. And guess what? After watching the entire thing, yes, to a certain extent, The Darkest Minds also falls under that stereotype. But this movie does have its own unique appeals, its own entertaining elements that make me consider this to be not bad at all. The Darkest Minds actually has some pretty cool moments. Who would have thunk it? Still though, it's not a movie that I would shout about from the mountaintop, but I most definitely do not hate The Darkest Minds. Starring Amanda Stenberg, Mandy Moore, Gwendoline Christie, directed by Jennifer Yu Nelson, based on the novel by Alexandra Bracken, the story is set in a world where teens all of a sudden develop new abilities, some of which are lethal, so the government detains them, including a 16-year-old named Ruby, who is the most powerful among them. She escapes the camp and joins a group of runaway teens seeking safe haven, but this small family soon realizes that running is not enough. They must use their collective powers to take back control of their future. Okay, firstly, I've never read Alexandra Bracken's novel, so I'm sure those of you who did can do better than I when it comes to figuring out whether or not this movie is faithful to the original material. But it doesn't take a genius to know an adaptation when you see one. By that I mean there are parts about The Darkest Minds that clearly feel like they're just skimming by a bunch of pivotal plot points in order to focus more on the parts that can be delivered cinematically. Even the budding romance between characters Ruby and Liam seems underdeveloped, but you gotta give credit where credit's due. Where the romance eventually progresses, you can file that under not too shabby. By the way, if you thought that Game of Thrones actress Gwendoline Christie was not used to her fullest potential in those Star Wars movies, you might want to keep your hopes down for this one too, because The Darkest Minds does even worse. She is barely in this movie. Her character Lady Jane is almost as badass as Captain Phasma, but Lady Jane appears and disappears way faster. What a waste of such a great talent, if you ask me. Having said that, I do enjoy the four leads that make up this small runaway family. It doesn't take 2 or 3 movies to make you feel for them because the actors and their performances makes it easy for the audiences to empathize with their plight. And yes, just like any other young adult dystopian dramas, there's this promise of a safe haven, there's some kind of a Lord of the Flies community, there's one lead savior, and just like the rest, The Darkest Minds also ends with an uprising. So very, very formulaic there. But I'm really digging these powers or abilities. And I think some of the visual effects and the execution or the delivery of those powers are quite well done, so much so that they make The Darkest Minds worth watching despite its flaws. So that's it, that's my review of The Darkest Minds. Share your thoughts in the comment section below and share this video with all your friends on the YouTubeverse. And as always, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. This latest review is made possible thanks to your support on Patreon, so please go to patreon.com/ramascreen, sign up there today, and become my patrons. Let's rock this.